right now. We'll talk some Flyers. They open up the season tonight against the defending Eastern Conference champion down there in Tampa. They take on the Lightning right now. Dave Isaac joins us to take a look at the game and the season and more as he's here on 97.3 ESPN live in Tampa with a look at tonight's Flyers Lightning matchup. What's going on, Dave? How are you, pal?
Not too much, Mike. I'm wearing shorts down here in Tampa. How is it hockey season?
Wait, actually, you know what? The weather is not too bad here today. It's actually not. You could get away wearing shorts if you so choose, but I know exactly where you are there in Channel Side. It's a beautiful spot. I love down there in Tampa, but a new season, and you wrote a piece about Dave Hackstall, wondering whether or not, quite frankly, Kenny Hackett. You've been around him. You've seen a couple preseason games. What is your vibe? What is your thoughts on him making the change? Has he, come to the NHL, and has he made the adjustments that make you feel like this guy's going to be a success?
Yeah, it's tough to tell. He's a difficult guy to read, and he also keeps his cards very close to the vest. I think he's kind of got to throw out those preseason games. They really don't mean a whole lot in the NHL. Tonight's going to be a good test, but it'll be interesting to see what he does in terms of in-game adjustments. I think that's where you really see how much value a coach has in the National Hockey League. And this is certainly going to be one of those teams that tests him, because you've got Steven Stamkos on one line, and then you've got Tyler Johnson on another line. And that line happened to be their most effective for Tampa last year in the playoffs. So, that's where he's going to have to make a few adjustments, especially being on the road where, the home team gets the last line change. So if he's looking for matchups, he's going to have a really difficult time tonight. But it's way too early to kind of assess whether or not he's really got the stuff for the NHL. But so far, I mean, everything he says sounds like he's got his act together. The players certainly have respect for him early on here, but that'll be an interesting storyline to watch, especially this first season here.
Dave, obviously through camp, these guys develop and they mature from year to year. Who are some guys that you kind of had your eye on that you think could be in line for, an increase in production from last year to this year?
In terms of offensive production, that guy's Sean Couturier. The Flyers have always he's been an interesting case study, because he's on one hand been the Flyers' defensive shutdown guy, and on the other hand, they're kind of demanding more offense out of him, even though they're putting him in these really defensive situations. So this year, I think they're going to pull back on some of those defensive responsibilities for him. Those will go to Scott Lawton, I think. That'll be an interesting storyline to watch, too, and see how he adapts to that and what he hopes is his first full year in the NHL. He's not really considered a rookie. He played 31 games last year, but this is really going to be his time now, where it's kind of his spot to lose. But in terms of offensive production, I would say Sean Couturier is the guy to watch.
All right, I see that Luke Schenn is going to be in the lineup tonight. I know he's a guy that was kind of up and down. They made the move with McDonald the other day, a couple of veteran defenders that played, had some big roles last year. What is the defense going to look like, and what are some of the changes there that two guys that, had some nice roles? McDonald got a contract, a huge extension. So give me your thoughts on him, number one, and this defense as a whole.
Well, the biggest change that you're going to see on the defense this year is the Russian 33-year-old guy that's coming over to North America for the first time, Evgeny Medvedev. He might have been through the preseason, and I know I just said to, not pay too much attention to those preseason games, but that's the only body of work we have to go on for him. He might have been their best defenseman in that preseason there. He tied for the team lead points through, I believe it was 5 teams that he had there. He's going to be an interesting guy just because he moves the puck very well, possibly better than anybody they have on their roster right now. And because of him being there, that's one of the things that pushed Andrew McDonald down to the minors. I mean, Brandon Manning is here too, and that's another potentially somebody that was kind of keeping McDonald from being on the NHL roster. But it was kind of interesting the way that worked out, because he's got this gargantuan contract, $25 million left on it, 25 3/4, I think. Because of that, putting him on waivers, no team was going to pick that up for free. But if you put Brandon Manning, who's only got a 1-year deal, less than $1 million on waivers, Flyers could have lost him in a heartbeat. So that was the reasoning behind putting McDonald on as opposed to anybody else. But just reading the quotes from him, from McDonald being down in Lehigh Valley now, he seems to have, not been too, obviously he's upset about it, but not, blaming anybody or anything like that or sulking. So it seems like he might be in a good place mentally, considering his circumstances. But that was certainly a shocker, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a shocker because of the amount of money that the team would be charged on that. But it obviously shows that they're putting talent above contract. You don't see that a whole heck of a lot. That's got to be a good sign in terms of evaluating Ron Hextall.
Yeah, I mean, that's as close to literal as you can get for putting your money where your mouth is when you say that you're doing whatever it takes to put the best roster on the ice. And you actually saw that a little bit throughout the NHL. That day that McDonald went on waivers, that's the busy day before, the day before final rosters are due for everybody. There were a couple guys that had decent-sized salaries on the waiver wire. I mean, they didn't all have the amount of money remaining on the contract that McDonald did, but that's the way the NHL is going now. Guys are looking at the salary cap. They're looking at young players that are on the up and up that are going to have to get paid sooner rather than later, and some of the guys that are making money now, these general managers are saying, well, I guess we got to risk losing some of these older high-paid guys so that we don't lose some of the younger guys who are going to end up getting a hefty paycheck soon.
All right, Flyers tonight on 97.3 ESPN. They take on the Lightning. Coverage starts at 7:30 here on 97.3. Dave, last year this team did not make the playoffs. I know late in the year they made a little bit of a charge. We thought maybe that they would get hot. They ended up falling short. Have they made the necessary changes and upgrades? It was just a couple of tweaks here and there. But did you see enough from this team to feel like they have gotten over that hump to be a playoff team this year?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, you're bringing in a relatively unknown player in Medvedev over to a new country, a new continent for the first time in his life, and he seems to be panning out well so far, but you don't know how that's going to play out across an 82-game season. And the other guy the other two guys, I guess, that came in that were skaters for this team, Radko Gudas and Sam Gagner, are both not in the opening night lineup. So I don't see enough here change from the Flyers, and you look around at some of their divisional opponents and you see quite a few upgrades there. I don't see enough unless they really had a down year and an underperforming year, and they're going to have 5, 6 guys play drastically better than they did last year in order to make the postseason.
All right, Dave Isaac, check out his stuff, of course, at the Courier Post and 973ESPN.com. And, of course, Dave is in Tampa wearing shorts for tonight's game between the Flyers and the Lightning. You can listen to the game here on 97.3 ESPN and WPG Talk Radio 1450. All right, Dave, enjoy the game, pal.
Thanks, Mike.